aesthetics and so on. Haber did the opposite. Do you know that, and you can prove it by letters, I love this. Do you know that he started writing shitty science fiction novels? Yes. Then he said, maybe they will sell better if I sell them as a religion, as truth, how should I put it, no? And again, it's a very good book by Sloterdijk. He focuses some fundamental problem about how beliefs function today, that we shouldn't read. It's a very important insight into how it's not really the return of the religious in the old sense. So again, this is why I even know some people who are close to Habermas. They told me, Habermas, I don't hate him. He's in an almost tragic personal position. On the one hand, he's respected, you know. For example, French told me 10 years ago or 5 when Tony Blair was still in power in England, whenever Habermas made a philosophy trip there to, I don't know, London School of Economics or when, for one evening he always disappeared and it was known it was an evening with Tony Blair and so on. He was meeting Helmut Schmidt when he was he is de facto, or was still now at least, how should I put it, European community state philosopher. But at the same time, he is bitterly aware that as a philosopher, he is no longer alive. It's simply, in a way, irrelevant, how should I put it. No. So, again, back to Badiou, I consider him extremely relevant. But let me...
Did you just say irrelevant or relevant?
My God. Okay, I mean, my defense will be this one. You know, if I am a Freudian, then the rule that slips of tongue means something don't apply. So whatever I say. No, I meant to say relevant, of course. Sorry. What I wanted to say is that, you know, okay, let me, so that we don't get lost here, present you just another, no, at least I should not get lost more than 1 or 2 letters. No, let's keep it within a certain limit.
But finish the thought about the idea. Why did
Yeah. Another, sorry, one line is this idea of extra intensity. I think he should develop it this, that an intensity which is as intensity constitutive for a certain transcendental world can get too intense. Display with intensities and so on. Another problem I have with him, but he is aware of it, is the way being, event, or world relate, in what sense, not just what I was telling you. The problems I see are the following ones. First, Badiou's line, original in being and event, was, as I already told you here, was that an event is an event only for those engaged in it. Event is not a neutral event. Okay, I found this sympathetic, but I claim it's not as simple as that. Because, you remember, and he emphasized this very nicely in his talk, how, in his new book, Logics of the World, he develops 3 or 4, I forgot, types of how you can relate subjectively to an event. You can be a direct partisan of the event. That's the authentic, blah, blah. Then you can be, this would have been for him this kind of a liberal attitude. First it would have been this, let's talk that vaguely, revisionist attitude. You formally stick to the event, but you betrayed by reinscribing it into the old world. Like, as social democrat, you say, yeah, communism important, but let's be realistic, let's do what we can, blah, blah. Then you can deny the event. This would have been the classical liberal line. October Revolution wasn't really a great event, it was just some coup d'etat by Bolsheviks, blah, blah. Or the whole against, how is the guy called? Francois, not Fedier, the French, Francois Furet. No, French Revolution was just a freakish, event, the misdirection of French history doesn't... okay, in this sense, you deny event. You treat event as a non-event. And then you have, of course, this fascist, passionate counterattack, destroy the event, whatever. What I don't get is how then can... In this case, then, it's not enough to say that you are either in or out. An event can have effects on the entire field. I'm much more close to this, and he's moving in this direction, but you, to this more Hegelian view that when an event, a true event happens, and I agree here with you, be careful here. Event is only event within a certain world. Then everything within this world is in a way affected. If you ignore the event, you are already a fake. It's already mediated by the event. It's like you remember the example that I gave you days ago of dialectical mediation, how after Schoenberg, atonal music, this is for Badiou, the event. If you continue the Rachmaninoff sheet, Tchaikovsky, it's not the same as before. You are already a fake, a kitsch. You are precisely not consciously, ignoring, denying it, and so on and so on. So what interests me is what mechanism are we dealing with here? How can an event affect the entire field, also those who ignore it, and so, some more elaborate. You have the answer?
I have a little question and answer. I mean, I was interested in the way Sam Gillespie is trying to answer that question by connecting it with Lacan's ethics of psychoanalysis. This idea of like the sort of like maximum intensity being anxiety, and so not giving up on your desire is just not trying to get rid of the anxiety, not trying to if it's going to affect you that much, to stick with it, not repress it, to sort of allow your reality.
Yeah, but again, that would have been precisely being faithful to the event.
Yeah, or
what interests me is how anxiety, I think, and this would work very nicely, yes, I think that precisely an event, I'll put it in this way. I had a debate with Alain, and here we agree that, now I will give you just the very simplistic coordinates, that for Lacan, following Freud, the only authentic emotion or affect, they are different. I know Damasio, but I simplify it now, is anxiety. That's the classical Freudian point already. All other emotions can cheat, potentially cheat, only anxiety doesn't cheat. I think one should add enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is always the obverse of anxiety. It's very close to anxiety. You know how already Kant describes enthusiasm as this limit experience where your senses are overwhelmed and so on and so on. So, Kant's theory of enthusiasm in his sublime, enthusiasm is linked to the sublime.
Can this be read as some appropriation of Heidegger's anxiety and
sorry, of some?
Of Heidegger's anxiety? And
here,
enthusiasm and affirmation seem just to sort of...
Here we enter the crucial question. Again, I don't have time to go into it now, but the crucial thing is to put it very simply, I simplify it again. The great break between Lacan and Freud, Lacan and Heidegger, is that for Lacan, Heidegger's basic point is that anxiety doesn't have an object. Anxiety, you confront the void itself, but that fear has an object, an ontic object. Anxiety is precisely when you are no longer afraid of something. For Lacan, precisely, anxiety does have an object, for interpreting Freud. And this object is, of course, object Mollet and so on, all that stuff, no? So here we can go into it, but another thing is important here. Again, for Lacan, it's anxiety. With Badiou, it gets... Badiou's fidelity to the event would have been somehow on the side of enthusiasm. And where I tend to agree with you is that I claim that even when you are, how to put it, enthusiasm can only arise against the background of anxiety. That the first shock of the event is anxiety, always. Like, okay, let's play the Christian event. I'm not crazy, it didn't happen, but Christ has arisen from the dead. I mean, fuck it. The first reaction is anxiety. Shit, what is going on? And so on, no? Then you can, but you know what I mean? That maybe anxiety is always being the obverse of enthusiasm